the rematch is upon us. And spawning in the top left-hand corner of Gress Farm, we have the South Korean Zerg player, one of the best Zergs in all of South Korea, representing Mystery Gaming. He got knocked down to the lower bracket earlier, and now he wants to fight back. He's here to fight back. It is RagnaroK. And spawning in the bottom right-hand corner of Gress Farm, we have his opponent. We have the Polish Protoss player. He was able to slay his opponent earlier. He took down RagnaroK 2-1 in the upper bracket, but here he is in the lower brackets. Oh boy, let's see if he can do it again. Representing Sidestorm Gaming, it is Gerald. Now, as a reminder, especially if you were not here at the start of the broadcast, Gerald was able to make use of a very similar playstyle that we saw in the last game against Fiant, where he was very tech heavy. He was looking to absorb the pushes of RagnaroK, absorb them, and then counterattack once he had enough of an army and once RagnaroK maybe traded a little bit too inefficiently. On top of that, Gerald made use of smaller maps. Specifically, it was Neo-Humanity and Dragon Scales. And the advantage of these smaller maps is that if a fight goes awry, if a fight doesn't go your way, a counterattack doesn't take long to move out across the map. You can be punished so hard for it, and as soon as things started swinging in favor of Gerald, he just kept the pressure up, he kept the pressure on, he just didn't let RagnaroK remax or rebuild, even if RagnaroK had a better economy, even if RagnaroK had a larger bank, even if he had a Hive and Ultras on the way. No, Gerald, he was so quick to punish it, and as a result, Gerald was able to take that initial series. Now, time has passed. RagnaroK has had time to reflect, to ruminate, to go over that series, and make sure he can make up for maybe some mistakes that he had, or maybe his overall outlook on that series and his overall playstyle. He's willing to adjust it. As we are loading into a larger map, I'm really curious. I don't know what the vetoes are. Obviously, we're going to find out what games are going to be played as we dive into them, but I don't know what the vetoes were. I wouldn't be surprised if RagnaroK did decide to veto some of the smaller maps instead, like Neo-Humanity, like Dragon Scales, like Babylon even. So I'm curious. We'll see. We shall see, as Gerald is going to be going for a Stargate opener. As to be expected, nothing too crazy. Likewise, RagnaroK was able to get his natural up and running, so his overall base layout is going to be a lot more comfortable, a lot more easier to defend against Glaive Adepts, a lot more easier to defend against Oracles as well. So a nice start for RagnaroK. A start that has been becoming a little bit more popular recently, which is really cool to see, as players have been opting to go for these like 15 hatches or 15 hatches. Sorry, 14 or 15 hatches. Able to throw down your natural on location in a ZvP. It's crazy, but it's been happening. We love to see it. As the first adept does make it across the map, just going to be scouting a little bit. Shouldn't commit. Should be preserving this adept to meet up with the second so we can go in for some harass. Likewise, RagnaroK is also saturating his base. He's actually making another wave of lings, so once ling speed does kick in, he can looks to be active on the map and try to threaten the third base of Gerald. At least once the adepts are dealt with. As we are going for the initial Oracle opener, we have a second Oracle behind this. We do have another gateway as well, just to wall off, so nothing too crazy, and Gerald should be working towards his third base as we speak, and there it is, third is on the way. Well, before that really does come to pass, so the adepts are getting caught out. We do get a surround, and both adepts will fall. A good pick off here for RagnaroK, a rough start for Gerald. The adepts do 0 damage, the Oracle likewise also does 0 damage. No workers are killed. Across the map, we're going double Oracle into a Phoenix. No Twilight Council, by the way, so this is looking like another tech-heavy build. We could go for a faster Robo and Forges like we did previously in that last game against Fiant. I'm assuming that's what we're going to be seeing, as the Phoenix does move out. Third base is looking to be saturated. We're trying to hunt down whatever we can, and no, okay, never mind. It is going to be that Forge and Twilight Council. These were delayed, but we have them on the way nonetheless. Gerald is just stripping away a lot of these overlords. RagnaroK, though, oh my god, he's cutting drones at 48. He has a Baneling nest on the way. He's got a lot of Lings in production. Uh-oh. There's a 4th hatchery that is thrown down, but it looks like he's only going to be using it for larvae, as again, he hasn't even saturated his initial 3 bases. Yep, it's a Ling flood. I was basically waiting for the next wave of larvae. I was waiting to see if he was going to drone, but no, he is not droning. He's making nothing but Ling Bane. He doesn't want the game to get into the mid game. He doesn't want to get caught out once again. He doesn't want to deal with what Gerald has. Here we go. Banelings are being morphed in as we speak. We are droning behind this, to be fair, but this is still a lot of aggression coming out from RagnaroK. The Banelings are rolling on forward. Adepts are being surrounded as well, and these probes, where can they go? Oh! Pylon does go down. The Adepts are dealt with, and now even if the they go for the recall, probes are going to be saved, actually. Oh my god. I didn't expect them to actually make it out, but regardless, damage is still being done. Probes are still falling, but Gerald, he was able to make the best out of a bad situation. Did save the majority of them. Really impressive. Lings, though, they continue to flood across the map. RagnaroK, he still wants to try and get more damage done. 5 probes is not enough. Oh no. Not like this, Papi, not like this. The Lings are laying siege upon the natural base. They're trying to break through this Stalker. Shield battery's not going to finish up in time. We need another wall. Stalker will fall. Lings still threatening that 3rd base. But finally, RagnaroK lets up. Finally, he backs off as he saturates his 3rd. Takes the gases at his 4th. He's going for Ling Bane Hydra. Meanwhile, Gerald has a Fleet Beacon and a 2nd Stargate on the way. He's going to be turtling up on 3 bases going into Sky Toss. Now, this isn't the best map for this. I do think that there are other maps like Neo Humanity, for example, like Altitude as well. There are definitely maps where you can be this greedy and tech up. I do worry here as Lings move out to Scout and... Oh my god. I love that. I was about to say as the Lings do force a cancel at 4th base, I was about to say that the Lings are going to be scanning the Cybercore and confirming the Sky Toss, but as the Lings moved in, Gerald canceled +1 air attack. I love it. So Gerald is still going to be hiding his carrier transition. This does mean, though, that his army is going to be weaker. It means that he won't have +1 air attack. He's going to have the surprise factor, hopefully, but is it really going to be the surprise factor? Because we already have Hydras on the way. We are committed to a pretty potent force. Hydras aren't amazing. They aren't the best against Skytos, but in a low enough numbers, they can deal with like 6 carriers at most, I would say. Especially with Vipers. If Vipers come into play, then we can deal with a low amount of carriers. I do think that like 6 is critical mass, but we're nowhere near that at the moment. As the Lings once again show up, there's nothing on the ground, and we're going to be forcing another cancel on this base. Ay. Gerald just being contained to 3 bases for far too long. Again, because he's rushing into Skytles, he doesn't actually have anything on the ground to protect his bases. He's got slow lots. They're doing what they can, but there's only so much they can do. Meanwhile, the Lings, they rotate around. They're going to be able to chip away at this wall. First 2 carriers are out. We've got another 2 on the way, but RagnaroK, he is hitting his timing. By the time these Hydras move out across the map, we're going to have maybe 4 carriers, but I don't think that's going to be enough. 4 carriers without supportive units either. That's the problem, right? If the carriers, if they had, you know, Storm or Archons or Charge Lots, then sure, but the Lings have arrived, the Hydras as well. This 4th base, it finally gets up, but it's not going to get running. But the carriers have been revealed. And with this revelation, RagnaroK, he's going to consolidate his army. He's going to dive on forward as well. Yeah, he can just go toe-to-toe with these interceptors. Oh, he wants the carriers. At the same time, Banelings, they roll on in. No, they're not going to get into the mineral line, but the carriers do go down. GG gets called, and RagnaroK takes game number 1. Gerald's crazy. GG. Rushing into Skytos was ambitious. Was very ambitious from Gerald, and of course we can criticize it, but at the end of the day, like if RagnaroK, I was gonna say if RagnaroK wasn't as aggressive with those lings, then I'm sure Gerald would have been able to get away with it. But it's RagnaroK we're talking about, and out of the majority of the Zerg players out there, RagnaroK, he is one of the more aggressive players. You know, it's like RagnaroK and Dark, and I do think RagnaroK supersedes Dark when it comes to his aggressive nature. And yeah, you expect him to be in your face, you expect him to be just harassing you, and in doing so, scouting you as well. And yeah, unfortunately, Gerald just couldn't really get the ball rolling, cutting a couple too many corners, trying to get into those carriers. And with that, we're getting into game number 2. Let's go. Oh, I didn't know that. Shout out to Cream Puff in the chat. I wonder how Fiance got his nickname, since the literal translation is Wimp. Oh, I didn't know that. Dude. It's an interesting fun fact. Interesting fun fact. As we are getting into this and spawning in the bottom left-hand corner of Royal Blood, we have the South Korean Zerg player representing Mystery Gaming, taking a lead in this series, getting his revenge, or looking to get his revenge. It is RagnaroK. And spawning in the top right-hand corner, we have his opponent. We have the Polish Protoss player representing Storm Gaming, down in this series, but not out, looking to fight back, looking to force the ace match. It is Gerald. Let's go. And there are a couple of names like that, right? There are a couple of StarCraft IDs that are a little bit peculiar in that way. I keep forgetting them, but yeah. Like, I think famously, for example, Innovation used to be called Bogus, for example. The other big one is not an English one, but a Korean one. I guess, like, not an English name, but a Korean one. Is Boom Boom. If you remember Boom Boom, he was a Zerg player on Prime back in the day, Korean Zerg. And that translates to the sound that a fart makes, if I'm not mistaken, in Korean. So, yeah. It's always interesting when the player IDs aren't necessarily the most flattering. I don't like Wimp isn't too bad, but yeah, also kind of weird to call yourself that. I'm sure there's an endearing story behind it. I'm sure. What are some other ones? I'm sure there are more. I just can't quite think of too many. I guess maybe Bunny in a way, like like if you call yourself a cute animal, is that kind of weird? Nah, I think Bunny's endearing. I think that's fine. I don't know. I'm sure that chat will come up, will remind us of some of the other player IDs out there, which are maybe a little bit weird. Oh, as Gerald is mixing things up here, going back to basics. If you recall, the two games that, well, the reason why he won the series against RagnaroK, in both games that he did win against RagnaroK initially, they were DT openers. It was a Twilight Council into a Dark Shrine. But in the rematch, I don't know if it's the wisest choice to whip it out, especially down in the series. We'll see if it does pan out the way that it did before. We'll see if RagnaroK still is unable to deal with this kind of opener, and if he is unable to have a good enough response to it. If you recall, his initial response was always to go into Aspire and Mutas, as we haven't pulled out a gas, so this is looking to be a Dark Shrine opener. But yeah, every single time that RagnaroK came up against this, he would go into fast 6 gases and go into Aspire and go into Muta play. But the Mutas always had a hard time finding damage. He had middling success with the Mutas in game 1, not so much in the ace match. As the Overlord is coming back in to confirm the scouts. Of course, RagnaroK did go for a hatch gas pool opener. Nothing too crazy. With the arrival of this Stalker, the Overlord should be denied entry into the main. Meanwhile, there is that Dark Shrine thrown down. So again, another DT opener from Gerald. is going to be able to get into that. And if you recall, the initial DTs never really dealt too much damage. It was the follow-up. It was the Archon drops that were able to at least keep RagnaroK pinned back, get Overlord kills, get Lings, get drones, keep tumors as well. So I'm really curious to see how RagnaroK reacts to this and what kind of adaptation he has. As the second Overlord dives in and confirms the Robo, sees the Twilight Council, and even sees the Dark Shrine as well. So RagnaroK is fully aware of what is going on. He's preparing back at home. Roach is about to finish up. Spores are on the way. We do have a Spore here at the Natural. The Spore at the third should finish up in time as well for this Prism. So again, these DTs won't end the game, but they don't need to. As the Lings do go for a massive counterattack, they get a surround on the third base, and we are going to be forcing a cancel. Very nicely done. Again, RagnaroK just correctly anticipating that the fact that there's very little on the ground to defend. The Lings, they commit as well. They go for a surround on the Adepts. And without a shield battery, these Adepts are going to go down. Ooh, as we are forced to warp in DTs defensively instead. Not the best use of the DTs, but at the same time, because Gerald got scattered, I think this is a good move. I think if we warped in the DTs across the map, they wouldn't have dealt any damage anyway. Like, RagnaroK is so ready for any kind of Dark Templar harass. So I do think that, yeah, having them back at home instead is probably a wise choice here for Gerald. As he warps in another 2, and he should be morphing them into those Archons momentarily. Back across the map, all 6 gases have been taken. Lair is on the way. RagnaroK, it looks like he wants to go for a Spire again. We'll see. We'll see if he does take up in that direction. 4th base is on the way. I mean, already RagnaroK has had a better start. Just because he delayed the 3rd base, it has been able to slow down Geralt by quite a bit. Ling counterattack is going to force the Archons back home, force them to respond. Gerald already commencing Immortal production as we speak. There's that gateway explosion. And we were talking about the Spire because of all 6 gases, and there it is. Spire is thrown down for RagnaroK. I mean, it would have either been a Spire or a Hydrogen, and even then, like, this is too much gas for a Hydrogen as well. Cool. So yeah, RagnaroK is going for the same response. Again, he's had a better start to the game at least. We'll see how hard he does commit to these mutas. We'll see if it's able to go unscattered as well. As Geralt is actually moving out across the map. Oh my god, he has to be careful though. The Immortal almost gets caught out. The shields are going to be triggered. Yeah, before he even takes the 3rd base, Geralt, he wants to try to hit RagnaroK mid-transition. But there are already Roaches and Ravagers here across the map. Geralt is prepared. Sorry, RagnaroK is prepared. It's been a long day. I feel like we really shouldn't be here, but we're going to commit anyway. The Immortals are going to be saved, but we have so much Zerg on the ground. 1 Archon goes down, and just like that, Geralt is being forced back. At the same time, we do have a Ling counterattack. 6 probes do fall. Geralt does clean up the Lings, but did lose a lot of workers, and he can't commit to this push. Oof. He may even bleed out an Immortal. The Immortal goes down. Wait, what? The Immortal does go down. The second Immortal is under threat as well. At the same time, there's a Zealot run by, but no, the reinforcements clean it up. Geralt is losing everything. An ill-advised push. Once he saw the army of RagnaroK, he should have recognized it's like how much he had and just backed off from there, but he committed. He went for it, and he pays the price. Geralt has almost nothing left. He has 1 Immortal and a handful of Stalkers. And with this counterattack, it may just be too much. RagnaroK may just look to end the game here and now. The shield battery goes down. The Immortal is doing a lot in the back line, but we're losing the supportive units. We're losing the Zealots. We're losing the Stalkers. RagnaroK is getting out of control. We have a couple of DTs morphed in defensively, which is nice. We have a Disruptor. Up! A good Nova goes off, but the Lings are wreaking havoc in the middle line. Detection has arrived. DT goes down. It looks like Gerald is going to be able to barely hold on, but at the same time, the mutas arrived as well. We were talking about that Spire earlier, and yeah. I mean, honestly, we didn't even need the mutas. Let's be real. Let's killing the probes in the main base was, you know, more of a bonus than anything. As the mutas do look to depower these gateways. And unfortunately, in the rematch, Gerald won't be able to take a game. GG gets called. Well played. Good luck as RagnaroK advances on. And Gerald is eliminated. GG. GG. Well played. Shout out to Gerald for initially taking a series off of RagnaroK, which was so impressive. Here in the rematch, had a bit of a harder time. I enjoyed that he brought it back in game 2 and was, you know, going back to that DT opener as well and trying to get into the swing of things. That push, though, again, a little bit ill-advised. Did overextend, lost his Immortals, lost his Archons, and things very quickly snowballed out of control as, yeah, he lost so many of his high-tech units. The mutas sealed the deal, but again, I don't think the mutas were even necessary at that point. The Roach Ravager was already getting so much damage done at the third base, and yeah, congratulations to RagnaroK. He redeems himself as he does take down Gerald. He gets his revenge. GG. GG, well played. Congratulations. And with that, that was our final series. That was our final series of the night. Again, I'm really happy though that we were able to cast these though. Again, Gerald's popping off. Cristiano as well. Remember, Cristiano also took a game off of RagnaroK and made him work for it. So yeah, the Polish Protoss is not doing too badly, not doing too shabby. Unfortunately, they don't have a deeper run in the tournament and they don't make it into the playoff brackets or the knockout bracket, which is a shame. It is a shame. But regardless, they were able to. I hope they're satisfied with how they performed and how they played. The PvPs were a little bit more brutal, I'll be honest about that. Both Showtime and Skilless did look so much more dominant in those PvPs, and yeah, they did bring down both Cristiano and Gerald earlier. But yeah, at least against Zerg, I hope they are satisfied here, and I hope that they also enjoyed the rest of their time in Sweden in DreamHack. Again, it's always a great thing to have these big major offline events and have the opportunity for all these players to meet up and interact with each other and hang out, especially after being stuck online for so many years. You know, we did lose a lot in the COVID era of StarCraft. You know, no more offline events, everything was online, and yeah, it's a little bit I don't know. It's still something that I'm not even used to anymore. That we're having offline events again. You know, we're having these like kind of major tournaments, and everyone can kind of meet up. It's really cool to see. I really do appreciate it. Really do appreciate it. Hope that I can go to one day. One day, Bobby. One day. Speaking of offline events, there is actually going to be one here in Australia, so be sure to check it out. Unfortunately, I won't be there, but there is going to be an event called OzCraft. OzCraft this weekend. Going to be taking place over, I think, Saturday and Sunday, maybe Friday as well. But yeah, a lot of the Aussies are going to be there. Oreo is going to be there. Chappie, Pez, Azure. I think maybe even Chase. A lot of the players that you would expect. So it's going to be a lot of fun. Going to be, yeah, a great time. Going to be a great time. If you're interested, check it out. It's over on the OzCraft channel. Yeah. I've never been a part of OzCraft. Feels bad, man. I don't have one day. Oh god, one day we'll have the funds to fly over. If you're based in Australia, and if you're local to the scene, then yeah, check it out. It's gonna be in Brisbane. What? Brisbane. It's gonna be a LAN in Brisbane. Relatively close to CBD as well. So definitely do check it out. I believe OzCraft is sharing a venue with a CSGO tournament. I want to say a CSGO tournament. I believe it's called. Yeah. I believe. Don't hold me to that. So be sure to check it out over the weekend. It's going to be a lot of fun. Going to be a great time. Meanwhile, we have our own broadcast as well. This weekend is the return of World Team League, of WTL. It's been on hiatus because of Home Story Cup, because of ESL Masters Summer. WTL did hold off because of all these major events. All of the players were traveling, all of the players were competing, but now that that is all wrapped up, World Team League will return tomorrow, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. We're going to be casting WTL live on this channel. And what matchups do you have to look forward to? Let's double check. Let us double check. Un momento, papi, un momento. 2 weeks. There's 2 weeks left of the round robin stage of WTL. Oh my god, it's going to be so juicy. Team Liquid versus Basilisk. Kelazur versus Raynor. Clem versus Trigger. And Elazer versus Serral is going to be live tomorrow in 24 hours. Just under 24 hours for WTL. Team Liquid versus Team Basilisk. Likewise, we got the Starving Camels against Sidestorm Gaming. We have IG versus Shopify. Platinum Heroes versus Starlight Twinkle. Onside Gaming versus the Abydos. Oh, it's going to be another good one. It's going to be another high-profile matchup. And Berserker Esports versus Dragon Kaizi Gaming. Again, 2 weeks left of the round robin stage. I highly recommend you guys check it out. Join our Discord server because we do have a prediction game in our Discord server. We aggregate all the predictions from all of our people active on Discord, all of our viewers, and we are able to show off the stats as well while we're casting, to see, like, you know, where the faith, or like who has faith in who, or like how popular certain players are and stuff like that for a lot of these matchups. Oh boy. So yeah, something to look forward to. Definitely a lot's going on over the weekend. A lot going on. I'm trying to destroy my childhood. Boom Boom is a mini boss in Super Mario 3. Ay, ay, ay. Australia's a big place, yeah. Brisbane. Liquid has no shot, papi, no shot. They have a shot. They are the underdogs going into it, but I do believe that they're gonna provide a good series to cast, good games to have as well. I believe. Oh. Meanwhile, when it comes to Group C that we just casted, so if you want more context here, RagnaroK advances on into a qualifying match to face off against Showtime in a PvZ, and as much as I would love to cast that, I already did. When we were casting this event live, we wrapped up all of Group D, and when we did, I remember it was like 3 a.m. It was 3 a.m. in the morning at the time, and Asher tapped out. He was like, I'm gonna go to bed, Papi. I'm done. I'm like, it's all good. Thank you so much for casting all night with me, Asher. So Asher tapped out, and he was like, are you going to bed? And I'm like, you know, Showtime versus RagnaroK is about to start. And I jumped in, and mate, there was some long games. I think we wrapped up the cast at like 5 a.m. or something. But yeah, Showtime versus RagnaroK was the final qualifying match, and it was already casted on this channel. It was a really good series, I will say that, and the VODs are available on Twitch. VODs will soon be available on YouTube as to the outcome of that series, but it was really good. The cast was pretty good as well. I'm pretty happy with it, despite the fact that I'd been up. I was like, how long was the cast? It was like a 10-hour cast. It was so long. It was a 9-hour cast. We started at 6 p.m. AEST, and we ended at 5 a.m. Like, oh my god, it was wild. I want to say, I could be wrong on that, but I remember it was over 9 hours. Jesus, it was wild. Yeah, check it out. I want to say I was saying towards the end, right after that, I think I just passed out. Just went straight to bed, never to return, at least for a couple of days. Don't you just love casting European events live? Oh, that's so good. We do it whenever we can. Ruin all of our sleep schedules. Regardless, be sure to tune in to all that lovely StarCraft over the weekend. Quickly checking my calendar just to confirm. Yeah, so our next cast is in just under 24 hours. Going to be World Team League tomorrow. Oh, the other thing over the weekend. God, there's so much going on. Oh god. A new event was announced. A new premier event. It is called the Africa TV Champions Cup. We had one last year. We have another one this year. And the qualifiers for the Africa TV Champions Cup is this weekend. This weekend as well. Earlier in the day, it's going to be at 3 p.m. KST. You can convert that how you wish. 3 p.m. KST on Saturday, and we will be casting the Africa TV Champions Cup qualifiers. I believe those are the Korean qualifiers. Yes, the Korean qualifiers. But there's a stipulation, and I understand if you guys won't be able to tune in. I'm sorry, but it's in the name. It's the Africa TV Champions Cup, and we have permission to cast the qualifiers. Problem is, I said a problem. Thing is, we have to cast it not on Twitch, but on Africa. We have done some casts on Africa before. We've done the GSL qualifier cast on Africa. Last year we did the Africa Champions Cup as well on Africa. And likewise as well, the qualifiers this weekend are going to be held on the Africa TV streaming platform, not on Twitch. The VODs will be uploaded to YouTube. So if you're more of a VOD person, they are going to be on our YouTube channel. But if you want to tune in live, it's on Africa. And I know that Africa isn't the most stable platform depending on where you are in the world. But also depending on where you are in the world, it could be fine. Here in Australia, our connection to Africa is pretty fine. Like there's typically no issues at all. Same with Southeast Asia as well. I don't know about Europe and I don't know about North America. I don't know how shaky or stable it is, but yeah, if you are interested in watching the qualifiers, the Korean qualifiers, we will be casting that over on our Africa channel. Do I have a link for the Africa channel? That's a good question. Do I? Do we have a command? There you go. Exclamation mark Africa in the chat if you want a link to our Africa TV channel where we will be streaming. So yeah, you can check it out there. Keep an eye on our social media. Keep an eye on Discord because we will post when we go live if you want to be notified for that. Otherwise, if you're, if it's like at a bad time or if you don't want to check out Africa, it's fine. But just letting you know that the Korean qualifiers are going to be held and we will be covering them. That's where we're going to be busy on the weekend. Outside of that, thank you so much for tuning in. Thank you so much for supporting. A shout out to Shiva Blaster in the chat for subscribing for 19 months. Thank you so much for your support. 19 months. That's a lot of months, Papi. That's a lot of months. Thank you so much, Shiva Blaster. Thank you. Always appreciate the support. Always. And with that, we are done here for the night. Thank you, Papi. Thank you. See in chat. Lad, have you finished the Diablo campaign yet? We have not. We're still at the end of Act 3, I think. The end of Act 3. One day we'll finish Diablo, one day. I'm really concerned that we're not going to be able to finish the Diablo campaign before the next season starts. The first season starts. We'll see. we'll see what happens, Papi. We'll see what happens. We're working towards it. But yeah, outside of that, stick around. We're going to be rating another StarCraft streamer who, let's see, who is live right now? Who is live? Who can we send our love to? Typically, we try to raid smaller streamers, just because it does give them a little bit more. It's a little bit more impactful if it is a smaller streamer. But I don't see too many people live right now. Looks like Roddy just went live, Loco's live, Euthermal, Max, Wardy. Again, check out plenty of the other tournaments. I think there are other events going on, but I believe Roddy just went live, so yeah, we may just send our love over to him. I mean, hey, we just casted one of his boys. We just casted one of his players. Viant, of course, was featured on this channel earlier. He is one of Roddy's kids, allegedly. So yeah, stick around, we'll give him a raid. Otherwise, thank you so much for watching. Thank you so much for the support. If you want to tune into to more of myself, I do stream occasionally on my personal channel, like Zerg ladder gameplay or Diablo 4, or some other games sometimes as well. I haven't been able to stream too much recently just because we've been casting so much. We've been casting every day, and I don't want to burn myself out, especially after really long casts. Today wasn't too bad. 4.5 hours, not too bad. But yeah, I do stream over on my personal channel if you're interested in that sort of thing. Otherwise, just follow us. on the CranKy Ducklings. CranKy Ducklings everywhere, Poppy, everywhere. Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, Discord, all things CranKy Ducklings. Let's go. Until then, I'll see you guys next time. Bye.